So imagine you are like wrapping up this massive high stakes pitch over Zoom.
Right.
You log off feeling phenomenal. I mean, the client was smiling, the banter was great, and you're practically ready to pop the
Now
champagne.
you can sit in the back.
Exactly. But a machine sitting quietly in the background of that call has already, crunched the audio and calculated that you actually have an 82% chance of losing the contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Why? Because the machine noticed you started talking way too fast when they brought up implementation, and the client used like 3 specific words indicating budget hesitation that you completely missed.
That scenario really just shatters the old illusion of what recording a call actually means.
Hmm.
I mean, for decades, a recording was basically just a digital paperweight.
Yeah, dusty file.
Right, you hit record, saved an audio file, and never thought about it again unless there was some sort of legal dispute. It was entirely passive.
But stepping into the reality of 2026, that passive era is completely over. And that's what we're diving into today. Your phone system is actively listening, it's judging your performance, predicting your revenue, and in some cases, literally running your business.
It's a whole new world.
It really is. We have a fantastic deep dive lined up for you today, unpacking a massive stack of research published by the ServiceAgent team. It's their 2026 article comparing the top 7 AI call recording platforms on the market right now.
And our mission today is specifically for you, the learner. We aren't here to just, read down a boring list of software spells.
Nobody wants that.
Exactly. We want to decode how these platforms actually operate under the hood and how they're fundamentally changing the way business is done.
Because the competitive landscape right now is just absolutely fierce.
Oh, it's cutthroat. If you look at the architecture of these platforms, they aren't fighting over who can transcribe a sentence with the fewest typos anymore.
Right, that's table stakes now.
Yeah, totally. They are competing on the intelligence of what happens after the call ends. The ultimate prize here is taking unstructured human conversation and turning it into actionable, predictive data.
Okay, let's unpack this because the stakes here for your operations are incredibly high. The research makes it pretty clear that if you bring the wrong tool into your specific workflow, you're going to suffer.
You really will.
You either bleed money on some enterprise behemoth that your team doesn't even know how to use, or you go way too cheap and end up with a tool that just isolates your data in a silo.
Yep, the classic software trap.
So we need to map the specific business crises that these platforms were built to solve. Let's start with the ultimate crisis predicting the future. We're talking about the enterprise sales behemoths.
Right, so when you are dealing with B2B sales organizations, teams of 10, 50, or 100 reps trying to close million-dollar contracts, the biggest vulnerability a company has is the gut feeling of its sales team.
Oh, for sure.
Historically, forecasting revenue was basically a guessing game. A manager asks, "Hey, how is the Johnson account looking?" And the rep says, "Awesome, they love us."
Meanwhile, the reality is the Johnson account is completely ghosting them.
Precisely. And the data we're looking at highlights Gong as the undisputed heavyweight in solving this exact blind spot. I mean,
Yeah.
they essentially invented the category of revenue intelligence.
And their pricing model definitely reflects that dominance.
Oh, yeah, it does.
We are looking at roughly $1,600 per user per year just for the seat. Plus, and this is wild, a non-waivable platform fee that starts around $5,000 and can easily scale up to $50,000 a year depending on your organization's size.
Which sounds insane, right? But if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to ask why a CFO would ever sign off on a $50,000 platform fee.
Right. What's the ROI?
The answer lies in the mechanics of Gong's natural language processing. It doesn't just read the transcript. It performs deep semantic analysis. It measures talk-to-listen ratios, scans for competitor mentions, tracks the pacing of the conversation.
Right. It tracks pacing.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of relying on a rep's optimism, Gong uses this deal spotlight feature to evaluate the actual conversational data. It might flag that, hey, the prospect hasn't replied to the last 3 emails and expressed severe hesitation around pricing on that last call.
It's like having this ruthless, mathematically flawless Wall Street analyst scrutinizing every single word your team says. It just forces absolute reality into the pipeline.
It really does. But the data also reveals a pretty significant technical Achilles heel for Gong.
Oh, what's that?
Well, reviewers on G2 consistently report that Gong's AI struggles heavily the moment the audio deviates from, like, standard, perfectly enunciated corporate English.
Oh, wow. So if someone has an accent.
Exactly. Which exposes a critical flaw in the entire predictive model. If your AI relies on sentiment analysis to forecast a massive deal, but the neural network completely misunderstands a thick regional accent
Right.
or, fumbles highly specific engineering jargon.
Then your multi-million-dollar forecast is suddenly built on a hallucination.
Yep, the machine flags a deal as at risk simply because it didn't understand the vocabulary.
That is a terrifying thought when you're paying that much money, which naturally pushes us to look at how other enterprise tools approach this. Take SalesLoft, for example.
Right, they take a different route.
Yeah, they tackle the problem through consolidation. They aren't just a call recorder. They're an all-in-one revenue engagement platform. So your team builds their cold email cadences, tracks their leads, and records their calls all in one single window.
It's basically an efficiency play. You eliminate the friction of context switching. SalesOff uses this feature called the Rhythm AI workflow, which attempts to ingest the call data and immediately prioritize the rep's next logical action right there within the same dashboard.
Okay, but I'm going to push back on that philosophy a bit. If SalesLoft has a 4.5 rating on G2 and it keeps my entire sales team in one single application, why would any rational business leader pay Gong an extra $50,000 for a standalone tool?
It's a great question, and it raises a really important point about the limits of bundled software. When a single company tries to build the ultimate email client, the ultimate pipeline tracker, and the ultimate AI conversational model.
They stretch themselves too thin.
Exactly. They are spreading their engineering resources incredibly thin. The notes from our research highlight this vividly. SalesLoft's Conversations module is just an add-on. It's not the beating heart of their code base.
Oh, I see. So it's a jack of all trades, master of none situation.
You hit the nail on the head. Users in the review data actually describe SalesLoft's conversation intelligence as being, quote, in its infancy compared to a dedicated powerhouse like Gong. Yeah. I mean, if your entire quarterly revenue depends on extracting the deepest possible nuance from a client negotiation, an underdeveloped, bundled AI simply won't have the analytical depth to catch the subtleties.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for the Fortune 500 crowd. But let's be real, most organizations listening to this do not have a $50,000 line item in their budget just for a software access fee.
Right, they need realistic pricing.
Exactly. They need advanced features, but at a realistic price point. And that takes us out of the enterprise stratosphere and into the mid-market. We are looking at tools built to scale human management.
Because the fundamental problem in the mid-market is a bottleneck of time. A sales manager physically cannot listen to 100 hours of cold calls every single week to provide coaching.
It's just impossible.
Right. And that is the exact friction point Avoma targets, coming in at $19 a user per month.
$19. That's way more accessible. And the big hook with Avoma is their AI scorecards. They've figured out a way to automate the grading of a sales pitch based on established enterprise frameworks, like they use MEDDIC or SPICED.
Right.
For anyone unfamiliar, MEDDIC is an acronym used in complex sales to qualify a buyer. It stands for metrics, economic buyer, decision criteria, and so on. Avoma actually listens to the call and actively grades whether the human rep successfully uncovered those specific details.
Think about the mechanism behind that for a second. The AI is trained to recognize specific interrogative structures from the rep and then map them against the responses from the prospect.
Okay, so it's looking for pairs.
Exactly. Did the rep ask who holds the budget? Did the prospect give a definitive answer? Avoma processes that and automatically fills out the scorecard.
But hold on, doesn't that cross a bit of a line? I mean, having an algorithm grade a human being's emotional intelligence or rapport-building skills,
Yeah.
it feels undeniably dystopian to me. We're turning human connection into a mathematical rubric.
I completely agree that it feels cold. You are essentially asking code to measure a vibe.
Right.
However, from a purely operational standpoint, the efficiency gains are staggering. The research shows managers saving upwards of 4 hours a week on administrative grading alone.
4 hours is huge.
It is. The AI handles the baseline competency checks, which frees up the human manager to step in only for the highly nuanced emotional edge cases. Plus, Avoma pushes all that collected data directly into the company's CRM automatically.
So reps don't have to do the data entry.
Exactly.
But there is a catch with Avoma's pricing that we really have to call out. Getting those advanced intelligence models requires paying an additional $29 a month on top of the base user fee.
Yeah, that base fee is a bit misleading.
And digging into the user feedback, there's a lot of frustration around rigid billing structures and getting charged for inactive seats. You really have to police your own account.
Which, unfortunately, is a pretty common pitfall in SaaS contracts. Now contrast that rigid structure with another player in the mid-market that took a completely different path.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Fireflies.ai. This is a platform that just crossed a $1 billion valuation in 2025. It's sitting on a 4.8 G2 rating, and it's being used by like 3/4 of the Fortune 500.
It's massive.
And they only charge $10 a month.
Fireflies is honestly a masterclass in reading the broader market. They recognize that while specialized sales teams definitely need medic scorecards, the vast majority of the professional world does not.
Right.
Most people just need a hyper-intelligent, omnipresent meeting assistant to ensure nothing falls through the cracks.
And they are utilizing some incredible tech to achieve that. The research specifically highlights this feature called Talk to Fireflies, which is integrated directly with Perplexity.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, and Perplexity isn't just a chatbot, it's an AI-powered search engine. So the mechanism here is wild. Imagine you're on a call with a client and they ask you a highly obscure question about a new federal compliance law. Normally you'd say, "Great question, let me research that and email you."
But with Fireflies, the AI transcribes the client's question in real time, instantly pings the Perplexity search engine, scrapes the live internet for the answer, synthesizes it, and literally drops the factual response onto your screen before the client has even finished their sentence.
It is exactly like having a teleprompter connected to the entire internet. It completely changes your capability in a meeting.
It's a superpower.
But we have to be clear about what Fireflies isn't. At $10 a month, it is not going to warn you that your $1 million deal is about to collapse. It captures the present. It doesn't predict the future.
Exactly the right distinction. If you are an agency owner or a customer success manager, you don't need predictive revenue modeling. You just need flawless action items and automated CRM syncing. You're basically matching the intelligence of the tool to the specific demands of your daily workflow.
Which is the perfect bridge to our next category. Up until now, we've been operating under a huge assumption.
That we're all corporate sales reps.
Exactly. We're assuming that you, the listener, are sitting at a desk having scheduled B2B Zoom meetings. But what if you're a marketing agency running massive digital ad campaigns? Or what if you run a local roofing company relying on inbound phone calls from homeowners? A tool that analyzes a corporate email cadence is entirely useless to you.
It solves the wrong problem.
Right. You need a niche specialist. So let's look at CallRail.
CallRail occupies this fascinating space because it tackles the physical to digital divide. Look, if you are spending thousands of dollars on Google Ads, you know exactly how many clicks you get. But historically, the moment a customer picked up the phone to call your business, that digital tracking went completely dark.
Right, you had no idea which ad made the phone ring.
Exactly. And CallRail solves that through a mechanism called dynamic number insertion, or DNI.
DNI, okay.
Yeah. To visualize how this works, imagine CallRail holds a giant digital bucket of unique phone numbers. When a customer clicks on your specific Facebook ad and lands on your website, the DNI software instantly pulls one unique number from that bucket and displays it on your site just for that specific visitor.
Oh, wow, so everyone sees a different number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when that person dials the number, the telecom system routes the call to your actual business, but it simultaneously sends a signal back to the software. It cross-references that unique temporary phone number with the active web session. Instantly, the digital click and the analog phone call are married together.
Okay, the attribution data that generates is absolute gold for a marketer. You stop guessing which campaigns are working, and you can start proving that a specific keyword search actually generated a $10,000 plumbing job.
It's incredibly powerful for ROI.
But the data does flag a major boundary with CallRail. It is built almost exclusively for inbound marketing. If your team is making proactive, outbound cold calls, and you want AI coaching on those conversations, the review data shows CallRail falls completely flat.
Right. It tracks the origin of the call. It doesn't coach the human speaking on it.
Which brings us to perhaps the most radical shift in the entire research stack, ServiceAgent. And just for full transparency, ServiceAgent is the team that compiled the 2026 data we're analyzing today.
Right.
But looking at the mechanics of what they've built objectively, it represents a total paradigm shift. Every other platform we have discussed today is essentially a digital eavesdropper. They sit quietly in the background and take notes while two humans talk. ServiceAgent removes one of the humans entirely.
It's an AI front office.
Exactly. It actually answers the incoming phone call.
What's fascinating here is the sheer operational leap. I mean, this isn't a robotic phone tree that says press 1 for sales.
Yeah.
They have developed highly specialized industry-tuned models. The documentation refers to things like HVAC GPT and plumbing GPT.
That's wild.
Right. These are large language models fine-tuned on the specific knowledge graphs, pricing structures, and scheduling logistics of home service trades.
So a homeowner calls with a busted water heater, and the AI handles the entire triage. It asks the qualifying questions, accesses the company's dispatch software via API, books the appointment on the calendar, and can even process a dispatch fee through Stripe right there on the call.
And this completely upends the traditional software pricing model. Instead of paying a massive monthly subscription for a seat, the platform itself is free to use. The business only pays a usage fee when the AI actually takes a call and does the work.
Which makes a lot of sense.
And they are reporting a 100% answer rate and incredibly high booking conversions.
However, we do have to ground this in reality a bit. The platform launched in early 2025. It simply does not have the decade of thousands of verified third-party G2 reviews that a giant like Gong has.
It's a fair point.
And the risk profile here is completely inverted. I mean, if an internal meeting assistant like Otter makes a typo in your private notes, it's a minor annoyance. But if an outward-facing AI receptionist misquotes a price to a furious customer whose roof is leaking...
Oh man, the damage to your brand is immediate and severe.
Exactly.
You're spot on. And trusting a machine to represent your brand voice to the public requires a massive leap of faith. The margin for error drops to absolute zero when the AI is the face of the company.
Okay, to round out the spectrum, we have covered AI that predicts enterprise futures and AI that dispatches plumbers. Let's bring it all the way down to the foundational level, the solo operator. You know, the freelancer or student who just wants reliable, inexpensive transcription without any massive ecosystem attached.
Right, keep it simple.
That is where Otter.ai dominates.
Otter is essentially the universal utility player. They have over 10 million users, widespread adoption across universities and enterprise giants like IBM, and it costs roughly $8 a month.
It has a feature called Autopilot that automatically jumps into your scheduled Zoom meetings and a brilliant AI chat function. So if you show up 10 minutes late, you can just type, "Hey, what did I miss?" and it brings you up to speed instantly.
Super convenient.
But let me play devil's advocate here. If Honor is practically free and it has 10 million people using it happily, what is the catch? Why isn't every business just using Otter and saving themselves thousands of dollars?
The catch is the isolation of the data. Otter is fundamentally a brilliant standalone notepad. But on the accessible tiers, it completely lacks the deep CRM integrations required to run a business.
So no Salesforce updates.
Exactly. It won't push pipeline updates. It won't grade your sales methodology. It operates in a silo. Furthermore, the consumer-level pricing comes with consumer-level support. Yeah, our notes indicate quite a few Trustpilot complaints regarding unexpected billing cycles and incredibly difficult cancellation processes.
It's the classic trade-off. You get what you pay for. But regardless of whether you're dropping $50,000 on Gong or $8 on Otter, there are universal ceilings to this technology that the research strongly warns about. Let's talk about the technical realities.
The most sobering reality is the transcription accuracy ceiling. Every marketing page will promise you flawless, human-level accuracy. The actual technical ceiling across the industry right now is hovering around 85 to 95%.
And that 95% is only happening in a completely sterile environment. Like 2 people, fantastic microphones, fast internet, speaking one at a time.
Exactly the right caveat. The moment you introduce real-world variables, the neural networks begin to fracture. Background noise from a coffee shop, severe internet latency, or heavy regional dialects all degrade the model.
Yeah.
But the absolute kryptonite for AI transcription is overlapping audio.
The technical term is diarization failure, right?
Spot on. Diarization is how the system separates speaker A from speaker B. When 2 humans talk over each other, laugh at the same time, or interrupt like we do all the time, their audio waveforms occupy the exact same frequency band simultaneously.
So the machine just gets confused.
Totally. The machine simply cannot untangle that audio knot, and it usually spits out a block of absolute gibberish.
And beyond the technical limits, there is a massive legal barrier we have to touch on. We are fundamentally talking about recording human beings. The data reminds us that while some jurisdictions operate on one-party consent, where only you need to know the AI is listening, powerhouse economies like California are strictly all-party consent states.
Right, everyone on the line must explicitly agree to the recording.
Which introduces immediate friction into the human experience. To comply with these laws, these AI bots are forced to announce their presence when they join a call.
And the user feedback highlights how damaging that can be. Imagine you are an executive trying to build delicate rapport with a new high net worth client. You are establishing trust, the vibe is great, and suddenly a synthetic voice chimes in over the speaker.
This meeting is being recorded by an AI assistant.
Exactly. It completely kills the momentum. It immediately changes the psychology of the room. It signals to the client that their words are no longer transient, right? They're being captured, processed, and analyzed. People naturally raise their guard when they know they're on the record.
Okay, let's unpack this. So what does this all mean? Let's bring all of this together for you. The biggest takeaway from diving into this research is that you cannot just shop for the smartest AI. You have to ruthlessly audit your own business mechanics first.
That is the bottom line.
If you live or die by B2B pipeline forecasting, Gong is your reality check engine. If you need to scale your coaching without going bankrupt, Avoma bridges that gap. If your entire business model is inbound marketing clicks, CallRail is your attribution detective. If you run a local service business and actually need the phones answered, ServiceAgent is your front office. And if you just need to remember what your boss told you to do on Tuesday, Fireflies or Otter will do the trick perfectly.
It's all about finding the exact right tool for the exact right operational friction. But, stepping back from the software itself, the trajectory of this technology leaves us with a rather profound sociological question.
Oh!
We are rapidly moving toward a society where every single professional interaction, every sales pitch, internal brainstorm, or client check-in is being ingested, scored, and permanently indexed by algorithms.
It's total conversational surveillance.
Yes. Which forces us to ask, how will that omnipresent surveillance fundamentally alter human communication? If we know in the back of our minds that a machine is grading our tone, scoring our empathy, and analyzing our vocabulary for risk factors, will we unconsciously start speaking differently?
Wow.
Will we abandon the messy, overlapping, organic way humans actually talk and start communicating in distinct, optimized bullet points just to ensure the algorithm grades us favorably?
We basically train ourselves to speak like machines, just to appease the machines that are listening to us. That is an incredibly wild thought to leave off on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. As you go into your next virtual meeting, take a moment to look at the screen and ask yourself how you are capturing that conversation and who or what is actually listening. We'll catch you on the next one.